Anyone who's played Roblox recently could tell you that Blue Lock Rivals is one of the most popular Roblox games right now, and its appearance and success has caused a major insurgence of games based on sports anime. Now, the majority of these are Blue Lock games, but to be fair, we also have seen some Kuroko no Basket and even some Haikyuu games, so it's not just Blue Lock. And to me at first, this was definitely a good thing, as it gave people something more interesting to play than bare-bones battleground games. Let me prefix this by saying it's not that these games can't be fun, it's just that the trend got really stale really quick. And I've always loved playing sports games with my friends, like FIFA or 2K, so being able to do that on Roblox was a really big positive for me. However, as time went on, I began to notice a rather worrying pattern. Every time I'd hear about one of these games releasing, I'd quickly notice that these games just try to copy Blue Lock Rivals as much as possible, usually also incorporating aspects of something like Azure Latch, another popular Blue Lock game, because it was a winning formula. It's very similar to how the Battleground trend started, where a bunch of developers saw one game do really well and tried to copy that game as closely as possible, obviously with the intention of replicating their success. And although this as a whole is a bad thing to me, as it causes a significant decrease in the amount of unique and mechanically interesting games that release, I view this as an even bigger problem personally because of what Blue Lock Rivals is actually like as a game. The game, and anyone can tell you this, is extremely simple. All you really do is roll a style, the one that's as rare as you can get, and then you do the same thing for your flow, and then you just play matches against people. The mechanics are extremely easy to understand with a rather small skill curve, and besides the people you're playing against, the match doesn't really vary at all. If you've played one game of Blue Lock Rivals, you might as well have played 10. For a game like Blue Lock Rivals, this is perfectly fine. It's obvious that the game caters to children, it's always been that way. And as a sports game, you don't really expect the game to change from match to match functionally. But due to Blue Lock Rivals becoming an example for developers on how to make a successful sports game, many of them aren't even bothering to try and come up with unique or interesting mechanics at all. The games play exactly the same and are extremely repetitive. I really hope that developers don't let these quote-unquote rival-like games become the standard, like what happened with Battleground games. There are so many ways to make these games more mechanically engaging, and Azure Latch, funnily enough, is a great example of this. But even beyond just how the game plays, I'd love to see more uniqueness in how your playstyle is determined. I remember seeing a Blue Lock game a while ago, although sadly I've forgotten whatever the name of it was, that really caught my interest. You didn't just pick a style and a flow, and instead you picked your weapon, and I'm pretty sure you could even have multiple different ones at once. You chose a specific stat layout, you could get a unique trait, and your awakening wasn't even tied to your base kit, so you had almost complete creativity when it came to your playstyle. Instead of running up to someone and thinking, hey, that guy has Chigiri or Lorenzo or Isagi or whatever, it instead added a lot more diversity to individual players, and that's something I'd love to see a lot more of. Not only that, but I really don't like how sports games are handling rarity systems. It's really sucky. If you aren't using the latest and the rarest style, it feels as if you're at a straight-up disadvantage against people with rarer styles. This is obviously to incentivize people to roll for rare styles and everything like that, spend more money on the game. But in my opinion, rarity systems shouldn't be an indicator of usefulness, but instead the complexity of the style you're using. Think about it like this. How much cooler would it be if common styles were general and functioned in basic ways, but were still competitively viable and useful on the field, while rarer styles were a lot more complex and specific, encouraging you to play in a more unique way? I feel like that would add a whole other layer to style dynamics, and would probably make the games a lot more interesting. It also probably encourage a higher skill curve. But really, that's just my opinion. If you agree with what I said, let me know. If you don't, let me know. This was Amon, and I'm 100% not playing Mugen whenever that bummy game comes out.